everybody. It's me. It's Michael B. the Game Genie, and welcome to Chill and Chat with Michael B. this Monday. Tonight, we're talking all about those crazy Arcade1Up leaks from last week. If they're real, could this be the biggest year for Arcade1Up yet? And then, if they are real, could this have any negative impacts going forward in the future? I've also got with me tonight Justin, Console Kits.
What's going on? We doing the double intro thing where you got to play the next one, right?
Oh, of course. And now here it comes.
Come on, sing it, everybody.
Who does two intros, right? Like you welcome people in, then you tell them to go again, and then you bring them back in.
Let's do a third one.
All right. I'll come up with something on the fly. So I want to say hello to everybody here in the chat. No, because no one cares. Bosco the man, obviously not an Arcade1Up fan. And then -1 says, you cared enough to comment. -1 being the positive one. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's me. It's Tyler Fisher, 23. Al Evickman, my wife is really good, but she's just about ready to pop at this point. Baby is going to be here in about 20 days. So, yeah, soon. Very soon.
That's sooner than these leaks, that's for sure.
Soon, and then the leaks are going to be coming. Bobby Timpson, I want Blitz and Time Crisis. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. Donuts with all the hands up. Yeah, donuts. JJ, it's him. It's Michael B. All right, Justin, what do you say we get started? Last week was kind of bananas.
Yeah.
Like, it was a fun week for Arcade1Up fans. Some of the longtime titles that people have been asking for, hoping for, that thought weren't possible for one reason or another. With Blitz, it's obviously with the NFL concussion lawsuit, getting the NFL license, nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, we know about that. That's been locked up in purgatory between licenses and publishers. And someone went to John D and said, those things are impossible. And John D said, nothing's impossible, right?
Right.
It was the S word.
What's good?
My wife came in and said something. What?
It was the S word.
It was the S word?
Yeah.
What's the S word?
What she said.
Oh, my daughter, before we started, one of the reasons I'm late is we were trying to get it out of her because she said a bad word and then she wouldn't, we didn't really hear it. Then she wouldn't admit to it. So we had like that parenting session where we said, you got to tell us. And then she wouldn't tell us for like 45 straight minutes.
She's like, I can't tell you because it's a naughty word.
But it was the S word.
You got to stop swearing, Mike. That's the real problem.
Well, it's my wife, actually. If you ever talk to any of the Super Game Room dudes, she's like a sailor.
Well, there you go. They try to imitate us. That's what happens. So we should start with one. I'm interested to know which ones, I think there's many. Which one do you think is actually real? Like, do you have a thought on that?
I'd say the most likely, because of what we mentioned earlier, is obviously Time Crisis. We knew that Time Crisis was very likely. You made a bunch of videos on it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a great relationship with Bandai Namco. Time Crisis makes sense. It's obviously doable. It's a PlayStation 1 game. Emulation should be there. So Time Crisis, easy. That's the easy pickings one.
Yeah, I think you're right with Time Crisis, and we know that they're going to get a light gun game, at least once a year. That kind of seems to be in line. Let me ask you one more question because I want to jump right into the meat and potatoes, and then we can kind of savor it maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think out of all of the titles is the one that's not real?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
100%. 100%. I'm not saying it's not coming. It's just out of the list. It's the one that may not be real.
Why do you feel that it might not be real? Give me your reason.
So here's a couple things. I'm really buying into the idea that the leak said Marvel versus Capcom Roman numeral 2. And we've seen Roman numeral 2 pinball.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually Wave 2, which is already hit. I think we've actually already got the Wave 2 pinball. And I think they're doing another wave of Marvel vs. Capcom 1, and those early database, metadata going from one website to another just has that generic Roman numeral 2. That doesn't mean Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is not coming. I just don't think it's coming this year.
So you think it's the exact same cabinet as the original Marvel vs. Capcom, just the second wave of that cabinet?
Or it's a legacy version of the Marvel vs. Capcom 1. Whatever they want to do with the Wave. It's an interesting thing because the Wave 2 idea, they're not making any more Gen 3 cabinets, if you will.
Yeah.
Like one that looks like the Marvel superheroes, right?
The Think Up Swan neck design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's not the original Gen 1, but it's the Think Up Swan, right? Yeah. So I don't know if they would re-release it exactly the same way. But, and then out of all of them, that was the one that just, there's not enough evidence.
Yeah.
And there's not enough supporting leaks previously from agents that typically wink in the past. I want it to be true for the fans. I just don't think it is.
You want to believe.
I want to believe.
So I'll ask you another question too. Is it possible that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 can even run on Arcade1Up's current hardware? Because isn't it a Naomi-esque title, and wouldn't they need somewhat of a chip upgrade to even get it running?
Yeah, that's a kind of a weird... I think it's a weird narrative, actually. Because it's like, there's Android tablets that are really high-end, that use chipsets that are inexpensive in the market. Arcade1Up just selects not to use them. But it doesn't mean they can't. I mean, all they got to go to their manufacturer is and be like, use that one instead. And they're like, oh, okay, that your cost is going to go up. That's okay. We'll just raise the prices on this one. Like that's or they'll be like, we know we're going to sell like 250,000 of them, so we got it. We got it covered.
Yeah, so you spread out the cost then over quantity as compared to price for the individual 3,000 lot or whatever they're going to do.
Right.
It makes sense.
It's not like they're inventing something brand new. Do you know what I mean? They're going to a supplier and picking things off a shelf, and they just got to go to a higher shelf, and they just don't because they don't have to.
Yeah, so I'll also ask the question because there's also a probability. They also just have a warehouse of chips back there. So they're like, why would we buy new ones when we got to run through these first? So maybe that's why they haven't moved into some of the more taxing titles right now. They're trying to get through their existing quantity of chips.
Oh, absolutely. 4 years ago, they were making the chips that are in Arcade1Up, and they cost a lot of money, and they were being sold to Android tablets. They still have stock of them. Those same stock are now being put in Arcade1Ups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're being retooled for a different product. And it costs more for the newer chips. You know what I mean? And they're just saving money by using a couple generations behind. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, that's fair. So don't mean to be I don't know what you call it here, a wet blanket, guys, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2... probably lower on the scale. And we talked about it earlier. There's still the licensing issue. I mean, why would Arcade1Up be able to jump the line and release this when so many other companies and Capcom themselves have talked about doing it and they can't do it? Why would Arcade1Up be the first to come out and say, yeah, we can do Marvel vs. Capcom 2 again?
Right. That's the other side of it, right? Absolutely. But here's the thing. I think sometimes the leaks itself change the plan.
Yeah.
Because like right now, maybe it's timing. Maybe they got it all worked out, but they're like working with Capcom and they're like, okay, we got to do it at just the right time, right? We can do it. We just got to do it at the right time. So what if the leaks get out, the community goes nuts and is like, oh, wow, and then they show that to Capcom. And we're like, actually, we think the timing might be right. These fans are going nuts over it. They could change the plan.
That's interesting, Justin. Remind me to come back to that because
okay.
I do want to talk about this because there's so many people in the community that think that this is Arcade1Up's master plan. They're like, I'll tell you what, Arcade1Up tell retailer X to accidentally put this up on their website so they can get free advertising from the YouTubers. I want to talk about that later because that theory is crazy.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And so Blitz, you think is a total possibility?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, like, it's in the leaks. It spells it out. There's no confusion of maybe it's a football game. And you know what I mean? It's like Nintendo football. No, it says Blitz, right? It says NFL Blitz.
So Big Reese's here in the chat. I want to say hello to Big Reese, and also, guys, go check him out. He's the guy who got the information on the Double Dragon leak a couple weeks back. So everybody go check out Big Reese's channel and tell him Michael B. the Game Genie sent you, or tell him Justin sent you, or really confuse him and tell him that RGT85 sent you. It's up to you.
Actually, that's pretty good. I'm going to start saying that. Be like, tell them that RGT85 sent you.
Just some random person, yeah. Right? Like, tell them Steve Harvey sent you. What, Steve Harvey from Family Feud?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So another one I do want to talk about. I know we're talking about leaks, and I'm sorry, but I do want to talk about this. Couchcade. Justin, what do you think of the Couchcade?
Okay, I think it's an unpopular opinion to like the Couchcade, but I like the Couchcade. I think it has its value, depending on the price. If it's like $400, no. But if it's, I think we think it's $99. Is that, wait, the Collectorcade is $99? No. Couchcade was $249, I want to say.
That's a chunk of change.
So here's the deal. The unique controls. We all want unique controls, right?
Yeah.
And if the Atari Legacy has unique controls, but that's like $450, but you can spend half the money and have one that you just plug into your TV, has a trackball, has a spinner, and you can play Tempest on it. That could be fun at parties.
So I was actually thinking about making a video on this, and I never got around to it. I might still yet, but I'll ruin it right now. And I will tell you that I made a call for Arcade1Up to do this a long time ago. I did a video when they released the controller. You remember Mega Man controller and the Pac-Man controllers. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't know what this is. And then when the Projectorcade was announced, I said, listen, you guys are halfway there. The idea that you're going to be releasing real decks that people can just buy and then have a dongle plugged into their TV and then play the arcade game the way it's supposed to be played is a fantastic idea. So when I saw the Couchcade, I thought that's what this was. So I thought it was going to be more like an At Games Legends Gamer Pro that you just put on your lap and then play, but it would have real accurate arcade control decks. Mm-hmm. So I will tell you, I think this product is awesome. Exactly what Arcade1Up should have done, but they should have made it more arcade accurate for the people that want that nostalgia. I'm sure a lot of people think this is cool, but like, how cool would it be to have a Star Wars Arcade1Up Couchcade that's just the yoke and it looks just like the control panel?
Maybe, because maybe that's how they'll grow, right? They're like, what if they're trying to get to people that will never buy a 3/4 scale? They don't even have room for a 3/4 scale. They're like, every house or every room that's in my house has got a bed in it, like whatever, a dresser, and this room's got my TVs and couches and the kitchen. I can't put it in there. There's just no space.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, I could get a Star Wars yoke and put it on my lap, and play it. And then maybe I'm not going to buy it. Maybe you wouldn't buy it because you're like, I already have the Star Wars, right? But you could extend your reach. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I get it all the time where I get video game fans that I've been friends with and people that have watched my channel for years, and they say like Arcade1Ups are cool, but I just don't have the room for that. That doesn't make sense to me. But they want that nostalgia. They want to play the original game and make it feel like the original experience. Mm-hmm. That just makes sense to me, to make the actual arcade control panel and sell it to people where they can play it on their TV. It's something they can just pick up, throw on their lap, and play really quickly.
Right. I'm going to do a P-Dubs and be like, what do you guys think in the chat right now? Tell us what you think in the chat. Come on. I'm sorry. I'm doing like a different voice than him. I think I was doing Jason or something. Anyway, tell us in the chat, what do you think of the Couchcade? I mean, is that something that you would buy? As an, there was a couple things I was thinking about, like with Apple, that I think it was like a watch. When the Apple Watch first came out, I didn't understand the watch. And a buddy of mine reached out and said, it's an iPhone accessory. You can't really have an Apple Watch unless you have an iPhone. It's an extension of your iPhone. It's an iPhone accessory. And then I kind of got it. And I don't know if it was worth buying it. I have like a really old version of it. But I don't know. Sometimes there's perspective. So what if you're like a Couchcade? It's not a replacement for a 3/4 scale. It's just like another thing you can have, right? And maybe, check this out. Maybe you're like, I can get rid of my Atari Legacy or my Pac-Man and replace it with an NFL Blitz. But if I want to play those games with my family, legit without ROMs and downloading illegal ROMs or whatever, if you feel that way, you're like, I'm just gonna get the couchcade.
Do you know that every time that someone talks negatively about downloading illegal ROMs, Steven Nostalgia he loses a year from his life?
He should be dead by now. No, I have some and other people do, but I respect those that, I mean, I get a lot of comments with people that are just like, it's just something I don't want to do. And they're like, you're never going to get caught for it. No one ever gets sued. End users never get sued. Only people that distribute. They're like, I just don't feel comfortable. You going to push them? You're going to be like, no, you should do it. You should do it.
No, I mean, if someone doesn't want to do it, don't do it. I know people still to this day that like will refuse to watch like a pirated copy of a movie. Now, a lot of that is due to the quality, but the quality has gotten much higher over the years. But there's just people that, they have a moral compass that swings a certain way, and you got to respect that.
Mm-hmm. I think Lewis got it. You see that? Couchcade is going to be for the HSN QVC set. Calm down, folks.
Yeah, people don't need to worry about the couchcade. I think the biggest disappointment with the couchcade is that it isn't actually a couch.
All right, let's talk about Deskcade then.
Oh yeah, I got one right here. Oh, you probably can't, I won't get it on camera, but I finally got a Countercade, and these early Countercades, man, that screen is horrible.
Yes, the Gen 1.
Brutal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what this is. It's a Miss Pac-Man that I got from the shopping channel, and I guess it's a reskin of something else they had, because the monitor is a nightmare. Like the new ones, I've seen those. Those are really good.
Very good. Yes.
This not so much. Like the viewing angles are just brutal.
But I think this is how it works. Like if you look back, right? Talk about Countercades for a second. If you go to your supplier and you're building a Countercade and you go, so I'm not sure how the audience is going to react to these Countercades. Should it be a really high-end screen, or will they be okay with kind of a lower-end screen? Because, are they going to complain about it, or is it just they're going to get it? Like you just play it a little bit every now and then. It's not like something that you play 24/7, right? So they go, well, you go with the cheaper option, right? Because if no one complains, you're like, there we go. We have this inexpensive option, whatever. But then when people go, God, this screen is horrible, you're like, oops, Gen 2, it's going to have a nicer screen. Then you know for sure.
Yeah. Technically, this was a Gen 2 Countercade. That's kind of why I'm a little disappointed. I figured they would have worked out the kinks, but
yeah,
I do
guess
think
it would
these
be
are some...
It's the 2-player Countercade is when they got it right.
Yeah.
But then the problem with the 2-player Countercade is that it was 2 players. So.
And I reviewed a Numbskull Quarter Arcade a while back, the Miss Pac-Man Numbskull actually as well. And I will tell you, same level of ghosting when you're not looking directly at the screen as with the Countercades. And I guess the thought process on all of this is it's so friggin' tiny. There's not really room for people to be viewing from angles. You're not going to play at an angle. So you're going to be straight on. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But like, I don't know, that early Countercade was so bad. Even if you're straight on, it doesn't look that great. Especially compared to the 2-player, like the NBA Jam I have. It looks great. It's just awesome. So
really quickly, but so we can just get this out of the way and then move back to our main topic, Collectorcade. The hell do you think a Collectorcade is?
It's a Deskcade. It's a $99 collector item that's going to sit on your desk, and we're all going to buy one.
Yeah.
Because then when you're in your office, back in the office, you have a piece of home arcade at your work desk, or if you work from home like me, you have, or like you right there, like actually, is that your office, or do you have a different room that's your office?
Depends on the day, and also where we've got our young child at home with us too. We held her out. We didn't send her back to school when the schools went back, because with my wife's pregnancy, it's so likely she could possibly bring home COVID, and then my wife would have problems getting to appointments and stuff. So we kept her home. So I'll work up here on days when Lara's available to kind of look after Scarlett. Otherwise, I'll work from the kitchen, and not really the best situation, but so much easier to get coffee.
See,
so that works.
You got to get your infant the Collectorcade, because your daughter, your daughter, she can get the babycade, but your new baby needs the infantcade, right?
Yeah.
And that's the Collectorcade.
So I guess my question I really want to ask with the Collectorcade is this going to be Arcade1Up swinging their stroke in this community to enter into the same market as like Replicade and Quarter Arcade? Or is it another product more along the lines of those Coleco boxes? What do you think?
It's not the Coleco boxes. It's totally, it's not a replica of the Replicade.
But it is.
Right. I think it's in the market, right? It's here's the thing. What is the market? Is the size the market, or is it I can buy that and put it on the shelf? Arcade1Up doesn't really have something that you can buy and put as decoration on the shelf or on your desk as a little paperweight, nice little cool thing. Someone comes over and says, "What's that?" And you're like, "Oh, I love arcades." That's what the collectorcade is. It's for collectors.
We got a super chat here, $2 super chat from Console Fanboy. It's $99. How good could it actually be? Well, Zohar, that's an interesting question because it could be really good. It just depends on what they're going for. If this is a market penetration strategy, Arcade1Up could be making this just as good as any other replica products that are out there. And then where they have an economy of scale, maybe bigger operation, they could actually release this at a below competition pricing, probably even below their own cost level to really enter the market. And it might be excellent. I don't know. Justin, you any thoughts?
Here's my thought. Let's take a look at it real quick. This is where I'm going to break the Michael B rules. I'm going to share my screen.
Well, there goes the rambling.
There goes the rambling. Just real quick, like if you look at Numbskull, and we'll move on to another topic in a moment, but these are like $150.
Yeah.
So take this, take $50 away. What do you have to do if you're going to take $50 away?
Less material.
There you go.
Which means size.
It's probably, yeah, which means size. You can't really put a numbskull on your desk, though. I'm telling you, it's a deskcade.
You can't put a numbskull on your desk? You don't think so?
I think it's too big for your desk. It takes up too much room.
Are you concerned that other people would see? Is that one of your concerns?
It's so big, it will cover my monitor on my desk. Like I can't see my computer because the numbskull is in its way. But if it's a little guy,
why would you put your numbskull directly in front of your computer?
But what if the numbskull was only this big? It could fit in the space between your desk and where your monitor starts, like a little decoration.
Is there a quantifiable size and value question that needs to be asked here at the $100 mark? Do we have expectations for how big this was? Because now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned the more we talk about this and you keep saying size. Like, is this going to be really small? Like a Christmas
7 inches. You can't quite put it in your pocket, but you could if you tried.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Zohar. I know we didn't answer your question, but sometimes people buy $1,000 products and they're not very good either. So yeah,
but when it's Mortal Kombat 2, you know Zohar's gonna buy one. So there's that.
Yeah. Hobby Hands, $2 super chat. Lawnmowercade, play Snake and get honeydews done. Can you imagine how many things you will run over with your lawnmower if you're trying to play an arcade game at the same time?
There you go. There you go. So I'm taking a look at the titles that you have on this thumbnail. Let's make sure we give them plenty of... We talked about Time Crisis. We talked about Marvel vs. Capcom. We touched a little bit on NFL Blitz, but I don't know if it was enough.
No, not even remotely.
Yeah, so maybe we jump back. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Michael B. What's your thoughts on NFL Blitz?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably in the minority here. I've never really played NFL Blitz. I have no nostalgia for it. I'm a little bit outside this realm. This is the point where I kind of stopped going to the arcade around the same time Blitz came out. So while everybody's really super excited for it, I'm just like, I hope people get it. I'm really excited for them, but I have no personal excitement. So I don't know. I don't know much about the game either, Justin.
No, I'm in a similar experience. NBA Jam was definitely a game that I played a lot.
Yeah.
And then I did play Blitz a few years ago, a few times. And I got to go to Cincinnati and play it with Retro RGB Bob, actually. We played NFL Blitz together and NBA Jam and the hockey one as well. And it was just, we're smashing buttons and trying to tackle each other. And, I don't remember it in detail, but I remember it was fun. We played a few rounds. We were like, oh, that's pretty cool, especially with a good friend, right?
Yeah.
And I think I remember at that arcade, some other people went to play another game. Yeah. And I played NFL Blitz for about 2 seconds by myself, and I just stopped because it was like they moved on and it wasn't fun without someone else next to me. I was like, okay, I'm going to go play something else.
I think Blitz is going to be an awesome title for Arcade1Up in terms of mainstream appeal. I think that there's lots of football fans out there that will have reminiscence of playing Blitz in the arcade. I think there's Blitz is another game that, like NBA Jam, crosses that line where it's both an arcade game and a bar game, because it did show up in the bars as well, like
right.
Especially college campuses and stuff. I remember Blitz being in our college campus in the bar there. So I think people that are building those home arcade bars that I talked about, like not really home arcade bars, but home bars, basement bars, and then they want an arcade machine there, probably already have a pool table. This is a good cabinet that'll fit in well there.
That's a good point. Like, there's a few people that bought the Terminator, and did you get a couple comments on that? You find there was a handful of people that when I did like news videos on it, they were like, I have a theater room with a whole bunch of posters of all the Terminators. It's my favorite game. This is going into like the entryway of my theater, and I'm like, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's some people out there, they may only buy one cabinet. Like, I think that guy is just like, that's a one cab guy. And I think that probably exists for NFL Blitz. Like, imagine you got a basement, it's like your favorite sports team, like Jersey, loves football, watches every single game. And then, he's got a popcorn machine when his buddies come over. And then he's got an NFL Blitz Arcade1Up. That's definitely for him. But I think it'll have a lot of sales. I think it'll do really well.
Really quickly, because I don't want to get too off topic, but Zohar asked another question, $2 super chat. Why all these 1-up sales? Prices are so crazy right now. Justin, since you're the Arcade1Up sales guy.
Let's see. I think they raised the prices and they raised the prices again, then they raised the prices again. And we actually saw the price that we saw was actually them raising the prices 4 times without showing it to us. Does that make any sense? It's like, they're like, look, we're going to sell less. Okay. We're going to sell less. Then if we sell less, we have to make less. So we're going to have to increase the price. Okay. Well, hey, wait a second. If we increase the price, then the manufacturing costs go up. That means we'll make even less. Okay, now we got to raise the price even more. Right? And I think they're at this spot right now where they can sell less but make more. I think that's actually where they're at.
I understand what you mean. Yeah. So that's possible. I do want to go down. I got to remember to go back up for Jeff's super chat, but Lewis makes a really good point. New product coming, duh. So obviously every time that new product comes out, there's clearance sales. Like once the new oh my God, my brain tonight. Once the new legacy cabinets were announced, there was a huge sale here in Canada with Wayfair selling off their Mortal Kombat Midway Legacy cabinet for $199, which is like the Canadian equivalent of like a $50 Arcade1Up.
Yeah.
And then just last week, after the Shaq news dropped, another company, the Shopping Channel, had NBA Jam, the big bundle with the stool, light up deck protector, everything. They had that on for $199, and that is a direct result of new product coming out. They've had product that's been sitting on the shelf for a while, probably in surplus, and saying, well, we should move this out before the new stuff comes, because if we don't do it now, we're probably not going to be able to.
Yeah, I wonder if it's one phone call where they go, it's some Arcade1Up business accountant that, it's their buyer or seller, whatever it's called. Their position is to reach out to the retailer, and they're like, hey, so retailer, we got another 20,000 of this NFL Blitz that we want you to buy. You're like, what's that? You got five. Yeah. You're sitting on 500. That's right. You're sitting on 500 of the Atari Legacy. Okay, cool. Let's take a hit on that. That's fine. We'll eat some of that. We'll share in that loss. But this one's gonna be the one that makes your day. Something like that. And they're like, okay, we'll make an order of 20,000. Sounds good. We're going to reduce these down to a price and help move them. I think it's all related. And I've also noticed that I've been tracking on the prices. When we see a price drop, it doesn't seem to be one goes down and the next day there's a follow the leader, or an hour later it follows the leader. What I'm seeing is there's like 7 websites that lower their price, or I've seen it like that, but I've also seen like just at minimum like 3 websites will lower their price more recently.
Yeah.
So I think they're coordinating. They're like, this Monday, initiate the price drop across the board, all 3 retailers, or it's like all through Capcom or something like that, and all the retailers that use Capcom, they just press it in one system and it spreads out to the others.
So the Canadian equivalent of that is I reached out to a couple of retailers after seeing some of the sale prices on these, and I'm like, hey, are you guys going to be doing the $199 NBA Jam stool bundle as well? Because I missed out on it and I'm hoping they would. And their response was, nah, they're crazy. So
like they're fine with just sitting on the...
Yeah, 100%. And they were actually a little bit disappointed that another company would do that, because then it lowers the overall value of their own stock. So
yeah, that's interesting. So it's just maybe some retailers, they get nervous or something. They feel it's the right move to drop the price.
Well, let's be fair here. Wayfair and the shopping channel aren't your normal retailers in the first place, right? So
I see.
$5 super chat, Jeff. Yes, unfortunately, that was the first thing we talked about. We did list Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as probably being the most unlikely of the leaks to actually come to fruition. Unfortunately.
Yeah. To reiterate, I think it will come, but I think we're going to see all of the other cabinets, and then everyone's going to be like, where's Marvel vs. Capcom 2? That's what I think. And then it'll eventually come.
Yeah. So I apologize, Jeff. We're not saying it's not going to happen. It's just if there's one that possibly won't happen, that might be it. And then 19K Fox brings it up. MVCII.
It's coming to the Arcade. I get it.
Yeah. And here's a comment for our buddy P-Dubs. How about a Harry Potter arcade?
There you go.
P-Dubs is really excited about Harry Potter.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
So back to the 3 main arcades that we started talking about, Justin. This is where I want to move into the next section of this. So these have been leaked. Say, for example, they are real. And like 100% Arcade1Up's planning on doing these.
Yep.
What are the implications right now? Implications of these leaks coming out early? Because from what we understand, Arcade1Up might have to tell retailers long in advance before their lineups even finalized of what the retailers could possibly pick up for them for their ordering placeholders. So now that this is out early, are there any negative impacts that could cause from the leaks and these titles coming to fruition?
Yeah, this is the dilemma that I had when I saw the leaks, and there's that urgency of like, oh, I gotta go live right now. I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna get a bazillion views. Everyone will love me. And then you go, wait a second, will this hurt them? And the thought is, no, because when did it hurt them before? It did hurt them before.
Yeah,
it hurt them with SNK, but that was a brand new partner. That was a partner that had not yet done a deal with them. But these leaks, they're not new partners. It's Namco. Namco is not going to be upset that time. I'm not even sure that Namco cares that Time Crisis is leaked. Do you think they care? Do you think they're like watching this video going, oh my God, they're leaking Time Crisis that's coming out. We're going to lose so much money. This is no, not even NFL Blitz. They're like, well, the hype will probably sell more. But SNK was a little different. It was like they hadn't even signed the deal yet.
Yeah, so I think the difference between those two situations is obviously deals have been signed. Arcade1Up's not going to Walmart and saying, hey, you want to buy this NFL Blitz? And then before they have that agreed to, right? Before they have all their I's dotted and T's crossed. It's just, I will double back on that though, because there is a drawback to that. But I would imagine the deal's done at this point, and they're already working with Midway. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys did a Super Bowl show last year where John pretty much
they were on the show, right? And they're like, they were the ones that were leaking. Maybe it's coming.
Yeah, so I think that's there. I don't think we had to worry about it. But with SNK, that was more of a concept drawing that got leaked, and it's kind of like that mystery bus at CES that Arcade1Up usually bring with them, with all these concept cabs. Potentially, I've never been in the bus. That they'll probably never get made, but they just want to show in case someone from Nintendo walks in and says, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Think you could do a Donkey Kong? Can we ever look over there?"
Imagine, do you think they have a Donkey Kong? I mean, I know they did in Hong Kong. There's early pictures, 2018,
Yeah.
a Donkey Kong Arcade1Up. It looked horrible. Also, the picture was like taken with a little cell phone, 240p or something.
That is exactly why I brought that up. And when you say it looks horrible, you mean like the Dragon's Lair that was in that video with Scott Bacharach going through the Florida studio?
No, it was. I mean, this was the suite of cabinets. I think he was on. It's a long time ago, but Toy Room. I think for a long time his background was that Hong Kong picture. But this is years ago.
Who's Toy Room? Is that Toycade?
No.
Who's Toy Room then?
So in 2018, there were very few YouTubers covering Arcade1Up. First, there was Cool Toy. And then there was a gap of no one covering it except for Cool Toy. And then there was Toy Room, the Toy Room, right?
Yeah.
And then there was Retro Ralph. And then there was me. And then there was Chris, Twisted Chris. So it was a very, very small community at that point. Like, you could count the number of subscribers in the community on your hand.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, and I'll go here now. So when you say that's all the people that were covering Arcade1Up, do you mean mainly covering Arcade1Up, like exclusively, or covering it? Because like I go back to, I know you're gonna roll your eyes at me with this, but I remember from day one, there were people from my community that I used to be in that were covering Arcade1Up too from day one, like 8-Bit Eric, RGT85. Sure. They were covering it too.
Yes, that's fair. To clarify, it was regular videos, their primary topic.
There you go. Yeah.
They grew their channels based on the topic. All the names that I've listed had a large subscriber boost due to the topic, exclusively due to the topic, not to any other topic. So they're kind of like, these early adopter content creators, And so anyway, Toy Room, whatever, he made great content. He started making different content. He covers Arcade1Up from time to time. But
so
anyway,
what does he do? What does he do now? Should I check him out?
Sure. He's
sure.
I've wanted to reach out to him and be like, hey, you want to like do a podcast together? But I think he literally covers like candy and toys now.
Ooh, candy. I like toys too.
Yeah.
Zero Hero says, you've heard of X-Men First Class. This was the first class of the Illuminati. So did you guys all go around like collecting people? Like,
we did have some chats early on.
Yeah.
We'd reach out and chat and be like, oh, this is the news. Whatever. Anyway.
Completely off track.
Stuff.
Completely.
Way off track.
It might be to some people. Sterling Hall, the world's greatest Tron player. I know it will never happen, but they would sell a ton of Donkey Kong cabinets. I will tell you right now, John D and Arcade1Up know that as well. Nintendo knows that as well. Just for some reason, they don't care. It's the weirdest thing in the world, Sterling.
Yeah, I think they know they would do it if they could. If they could, they would do it. And if one day they can, they will.
Mike Hawkhurts has a really good comment that I think we should cover here. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one Arcade1Up reviewer, and that is obviously Kitra's Lounge.
Yep. When she came out, it's done.
Yeah, it was done for everybody else.
It's done. We're just like riding her coattail at this point. That didn't come out right.
No. So the other reason that I thought it would be so good to talk to you about this is, Justin, you were really the one who broke this news in terms of video. No, Lewis did on the Facebook groups, but you were the first person to make a video about it. And you said afterwards that you said like it felt weird because I didn't know if this would impact Arcade1Up, like be a bad thing for them, and I kind of felt bad about doing that. And I felt like almost like a kinship with you at that point because I had a similar situation happen last year that very early on, somebody from the community reached out to me and gave me like basically the list, all of Arcade1Up stuff. And the same thing went through my mind is like, oh my God, like I can make videos on this. Like, and I wasn't really covering a lot of news at the time, so it didn't feel genuine, but also I felt really bad for Arcade1Up. So I actually reached out to him and said, guys, I don't know if this is actually real or not. I'm going to send you the list, send you everything there. I just wanted to give you a heads up because if it is, this is probably going to really put a wet blanket on your E3 and ruin your marketing plans going forward.
Right.
So I just wanted to give you a heads up that this is out there and, you know, do some damage control. So that's the direction I went. But you were in a bit of a different situation because the news was already out there.
The news was out.
Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times, to give you an example, where I have had information and I could make that video, but I don't. And a lot of times are like, I'm chatting with John D or something, and he's like, I'm trying to think of something that's already out. I don't know. Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was something else. But he's like, just wait for the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. You're going to be blown away. Like, wait, what? You know? And then there's never with John, even though people joke about the Illuminati, there's no contract. There's no NDA. There's nothing. There's nothing. And if you ever talk to him about it, he's always says the same thing. You do you, however you want to do you. You make the content. You will never hear me sway you to make, this positive review or negative review or whatever. But at the same time, you're like, he wasn't supposed to tell me that. He accidentally did. He slipped it in conversation because he was comfortable, and it would be wrong for me to leak that, so you just dodge the topic for 10 months.
Govy Garage, John D, the Leak Genie. Yeah, pretty much. John D, like, if you're talking to him, he will tell you stuff, and then you've got to be a good dude and just not say anything back. That's kind of what Justin's saying there. Evan Stamps, where's the Robotron announcement? Man, I wish I had one for you, Evan. You and me are in the exact same situation. I've actually softened, and I've come around full circle to the point that, you know what, if it's got to be a Smash TV, Arcade1Up, which I will throw up on, but if it's got to be Smash TV, if that's the only way we can get Robotron on an Arcade1Up, I guess I can live with it. I guess. I mean, it's not perfect. I hope the guys making the third-party marquees figure out a way to exactly replicate the Arcade1Up marquee, which might be easy now, because with the new, the way they're doing the new marquees, where it's just the slide-in like they did with Terminator 2, if that's the case, Joe Zabo did an excellent job on his Terminator 2 marquee. I might actually then rejig my cabinet. I've never modded one because I want it to be as stock as possible, and just the third-party marquees are not the boxes like Arcade1Up sells. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm ready to share a leak. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, right here on the Michael B. Game Genie Chill and Chat, we are about to drop a leak. I'm going to be like Jung. I'm going to push it.
You got your Skittles? Or what was it? Starbucks.
Starbucks. I'm going to push it. Okay. We have zero confirmation whether these leaks are real or not.
No.
But we did get one thing. There will be announcements this summer that are not included in the leaks. Woo! That's right. No, this is actually exciting. Do you know why?
Why is that?
Where's the Robotron announcement? Whether or not these leaks are real or not, there are going to be, for sure, other cabinets that we have not heard about.
Yeah.
Which could be Robotron.
I know that one's now coming out this year. I know, I'm such a wet blanket, Justin. I know.
And what, is there supposed to be like 20 cabinets coming out this year?
It can't be.
The theme of this is Biggest Year Yet. That's the name of the episode.
if by 20 cabinets, and I did throw in biggest year yet because just the quality of the games that were announced in the league is just nuts. And then the biggest is also with the fact that I think we're also getting a large quantity of cabinets that are bigger cabinets. Obviously, the XL and the Pro line, I think we're going to see more than what we initially anticipated. Like, we know Mortal Kombat Pro is coming out, but maybe it's not going to be a quarterly thing. Maybe they are going to ramp that up. That's the question I'm asking, kind of.
So I think it's 20.
Yep.
But it includes all products.
Okay.
All SKUs.
Including like collectorcades, couchcades, that stuff.
Partycade, the whole thing. Think about it. We heard that from a personnel within Arcade1Up. There's going to be 20 items. That sounds like something. They had a meeting with a PowerPoint presentation, and they went through every single slide of every single product they're coming out this year. And in the end, they said, wow, that's like 20 products. And then they're like, we're coming out with 20 products, right? Coming out with 20 products this year.
Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to take a step back because I want to go back to the sales comments. Something I wanted to talk about, I forgot. Okay. So one of the other reasons for the sale prices, no. One of the other reasons for the sale prices could be that Arcade1Up are trying to move out stock, or the retailers are, because they have new versions of the same cabinets coming out. Like, we saw that here in Canada with the NBA Jam because they've got NBA Jam XL coming out. Right. But maybe Arcade1Up is waiting on releasing something. Like, where is the Capcom Legacy Edition? We know there's 4 Legacy Edition cabs, but where's the Capcom Legacy Edition? You have to think they're waiting on sales of the first Street Fighter Legacy and maybe a Big Blue before they bring that out.
That's true. So when you look at it, here's the thing. The 30th anniversary has been announced, but it's not yet released. There's still some Mortal Kombat, and this is something I'm telling you. I promise the community I'll get better at this. But the website tracker, it's not all about what you can buy. It's also about what you can't buy. And right now the website only shows you what you can buy. But I have a whole bunch of data of cabs you can't buy. Because basically it's all my errors. So in the script it's all like, could not parse price for this cabinet, could not parse price for this cabinet, and I go double check them because they're sold out.
Yeah.
And it's increasing. The number of cabinets that my script says there's an error on continues to increase by the day. And it's all the exactly a year ago release cabinets. It's like Mortal Kombat 2 Legacy Edition. It's the Tempest Legacy Edition. It's just starting to dwindle, which means the retailers are buying new stock. And then the other ones that still have stock of MK2 or Tempest is liquidating.
So you mentioned just then that there's going to be more new announcements. And I think it's pretty easy to tell that we're going to get that because everything that came out that they announced was all like super 90s. But they also know they've got to cater to different segments of their hardcore fan base and the mainstream. So obviously there's some 80s stuff coming out too. So do we expect that maybe that wasn't on the retailer league, but there is 80s games coming out? Like Track and Field's long been rumored. I mean, since last year's, what was it called? The Randy's Record leaks. Like, is there a bunch of 80s games possibly coming out too?
Maybe. I think the Track and Field may not be coming out because...
Oh, that would be disappointing.
See, that's a part of the list that it's like, we knew it before MK2 30th anniversary, but we don't see it yet. And now we're seeing new leaks, and it wasn't in the new leaks. And sometimes, just what'd you say at the very beginning of the show? Everyone keep in mind?
Nothing's official until it's official. You caught me off guard there. I was like, I say a lot of things, Justin.
Yeah, nothing's official until it's official. And that's true.
Yeah.
And I think you have to look at that and go, Track and Field is come on, it's just, I'm sure there's some super fans out there, but it's not within the top 10 arcades of all time.
But if you look at that roadmap of the top 10 arcades of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, sorry, I hit my mic, and NFL Blitz aren't anywhere near that list either.
how much lower is track and field to NFL Blitz
I don't
in
know.
like sales or something? I'm sure NFL
Yeah.
Blitz blows it away though.
Well, here's the thing, if you, what's the term? If you change those numbers, translate for inflation, I'm sure that track and field would probably outsell both those games by itself with the amount of money it made in, I forget what year it came out, 83, 84?
Not sure exactly.
Yeah, so, but in that time compared to what track and field, what Marvel vs. Capcom 2 made in like 99 and what Blitz made in 99, if you did that math on that, track and field was a massive hit back in the arcades. One of those glorious games.
Maybe they don't want to do it because they know the buttons suck and they just can't fix the buttons.
There's the thing. Like, I'm sure, like, if you watch Chasing Ghosts and you hear the guys talk about how they cheated the machine, how many quality assurance calls are they going to get? Because, I was using my automatic pencil trick on the track and field cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the number one comment that was on my video when I released my video about Track and Field 2 coming out. They were like, there better be good ass buttons on that.
Right. I think you got a couple of super chats to get through.
Yeah, Hobby Hands, 20 cabs. How many leaks were in the list? We'd have to go back and look, but we had like a Miss Pac-Man Legacy cabinet. We had the Capcom Street Fighter 2 Turbo cabinet, the 3 that we mentioned, so we're up to 5. And then you get into the collectorcade, get into the couchcades. You're pretty close to that 20 mark. So if it is just 20 products, I mean, there's not much room left for surprises.
Right. And then some of those collectorcade was Pac-Man and Joust, right?
Yeah.
And then the couchcade was Pac-Man and Atari. So if you count that, that's 4. Oh my God, him again?
I know. Guess what, guys? 1UP will have everything. I wish they would have everything. I would love to see that, but they can't have everything. Yeah, I want them to make a Vectrix. I've been saying that. Like, if they're going to do like console type stuff, they want to expand their user base, make a Vectrix. People want that.
Interesting. So out of the 80s games, besides Robotron, which one are you really excited to get?
Well, the one that they announced on 1UP Weekly so very long ago, when I still had brown hair in my beard, was Dragon's Lair. That's the one right now going into this year of everything that's been leaked and everything that's kind of been announced. I'm most excited about.
I have a leak for you related to Dragon's Lair. I don't think you watched my video this morning. The deals.
Not yet.
John D was in the chat during my deals video, and he said, "People in the chat, hit a 1 if I'm telling the truth." Right? He said that if you were there, right, and you're like, "Yep, John D was there in the live chat," and he said to me later that he's going to be watching tonight, so he's probably there right now. See, Zod Rider, Dragon's Lair is going to be 16 feet.
16 feet tall.
Now, keep in mind, everything is a troll.
Yeah.
But there's always truth in it. So unpack it. Where did they originally unveil a 16-foot cabinet?
E3.
Boom.
Yeah.
Dragon's Lair's coming E3. And on the website, what does it say that it'll come? It even says June.
Yeah. Pre-order's coming in June. That's what we know.
I think we're going to get a unveiling.
That'll be nice. And
I don't think we'll actually get a 16-foot Dragon's Lair, to be clear.
No. But maybe there is, because there is always grains of truth to what John says, and a lot of people have said this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of the holdups with Dragon's Lair isn't just that it's not going to be 3/4 scale. Maybe it's going to be an XL cabinet. Maybe it's going to be bigger. I think it will be bigger. I think bigger in the sense like Terminator 2 and what's the other one? Tron and Street Fighter Big Blue. I think it'll be bigger in that sense, but there's some people that have a theory out there that it might be an XL cab as well. So maybe that's kind of the breadcrumbs John's throwing there, 16 feet, when he's just talking about maybe it's going to be extra large.
Roman numerals. Again.
Okay, last question because we got to go because P-Dubs is ready to start his Singlecade Mondays. That's the name of the show, right?
Right. He only covers Singlecades now.
Singlecades, yeah. So do you think, not that this leak will change necessarily the lineup or create problems with retailers, but do you think this leak, if it's real, could potentially change Arcade1Up's marketing strategy and maybe even their roadmap a little bit about what they're going to do this year, because they do want to keep people guessing and maybe make some surprises as well?
100%. I'll tell you why. Think about it. You work in a business.
Yep.
If I were to ask you about a time recently in your business where you were scrambling, it was a day where all of your employees were scrambling. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're really busy because you're trying to like take care of this like problem, you know. And then I ask you, that day that happened a month ago where you were scrambling, you know, did that change your business a little bit? Did it have any effect, or was it just like a day in, day out and that's it? It didn't. It had to have changed something, right? And what we've heard is the day of the big leaks, there was some scrambling. And the only reason why they would scramble is because they're real. Which means these leaks are real. And if they're scrambling, it's going to affect their business. It could change the roadmap. This is like Back to the Future. We're in a whole new timeline now because of the leaks.
This is a 1985 alternate 1985.
Yeah, it's skewed into this timeline, creating an alternate timeline to you, to me, to Einstein, but reality to everyone else.
Man, Biff and Lorraine have had sex in this timeline. I don't like it. I do want to, one last thing. I know we got to go like immediately, and tell P-Dubs that Steve Harvey from Family Feud sent you when you get to his podcast.
All right, we're doing this. We're
No.
A59.
No, we can, but really quickly, the theory that Arcade1Up uses YouTubers through leaks to try to promote their product, that's not real, guys. They're not doing that. This is not intentional. If anybody tells you from Arcade1Up it's intentional because they're like, oh, we're going to save face. Not intentional.
Yeah, I don't think it's intentional, but if there's any upside to it, they don't dislike it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, sure. I mean, we try to keep the community entertained through topics about Arcade1Up, and I'm sure we've helped benefit their company, but it's not like, we're competing with their marketing by any means, I'll get it, I swear.
That's so impressive.
All right, just play the real thing. Come on.
You know what's crazy? He learned that just by sound. He didn't even know that was Simon's theme from Super Castlevania. So very impressive. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Go watch P-Dubs now for his Singlecade Mondays. This is Michael B. the Game Genie and Justin D. the Console Kits, and we'll talk to you next time.
Just do it.